best friends look out for you, huh? If they did, I might have still been able to walk. It all began not long ago. My friend Doug, his girlfriend Christy, and I were planning a forest outing, as we like to call it. Of course, I was the one stuck packing the car, while they were just lying on the couch inside the warm house. I cursed under my breath as I crammed the last bag of clothes inside the back of the crappy Prius. A short time later, they came out of the house, Christy blushing and warmer than usual. As Doug drove up the icy inclined road, I couldn't help feeling a bit creeped out. I kept seeing this car follow us the whole way, but every time I tried to tell Doug about it, the car would vanish. But I guess being in the back seat, having nothing better to do than be paranoid on a frosty slope in the dark, can make your mind wander. We finally made it to the campsite at about 7:30 p.m. and started setting up camp. Doug was stuck on tent duty, while Christy and I got firewood duty. Back then I had a secret crush on her, so I was pretty nervous when we somehow ended up tripping on each other. I had broken into a cold sweat and she managed to get up. I'm not sure, but I think she found it as awkward as I did. After gathering a large amount of firewood, we started heading back to camp. It took us about 5 minutes to find our way back. We'd been scared there for a second. We arrived at camp and dropped the logs, gaping in shock at what the sight beheld. The entire camp had been torn down, and Doug was nowhere to be found. We heard a loud thumping noise not far from camp. Then again, and finally once more. The thumps only got louder and Christy began getting close to me. Needless to say, I was kind of happy yet terrified. I told her to stay as I moved to identify the noise. It was Doug. He was attempting to run from a large silhouetted figure swinging what appeared to be a hatchet at him. The shadow was in a full sprint trying to dismember my friend. Doug let out a loud blood-curdling shriek as the axe barely avoided his head. He scrambled to safety and the figure had lost sight of him. Unluckily, the thing caught me in its sights. It charged towards me. Christy had run off to investigate the cause of the shriek from Doug. Poor Christy. She should have known it was a terrible idea. She should have just stayed put. I scuttled to the Prius, but when I got there, I realized something. Doug had the keys. I saw the shadow approach me now at a slower pace, holding what was left of Christy. I was horrified to see her internal organs become external. I nearly puked and began letting out the most unpleasant, terrifying screech ever. I'd snapped and began throwing my fist furiously at the lunatic. He felt a few, I could tell, until he brought the hatchet to my back. I felt an intense splitting pain and attempted to register what had just happened. I screamed for Doug to come help me. He just kept hiding as the figure shambled slowly towards his vehicle. The car drove off, and I was left with the bottom half of my spine in shards. Shortly after, Doug took one glance at me. He grimaced and entered the Prius without a word. He was shaking as he started the vehicle, and he had just left me to die out there. He spaced one detail though. I had a phone. The police arrived in minutes and an ambulance rushed me to the hospital. Upon recovering, I was questioned. It's been a week since then, and they've given up the search. I have yet to see Doug again, and I loathe him every second for what he's done. I hope I never see that waste of space for as long as I live, which sadly, as I'm told, isn't much longer.